Yo, I'm Cat, and good news everybody, the
Bundles of Bravery
drop is now available for all Minecraft Bedrock platforms. This update is known as 1.21.40, and a lot of people are familiar with two of the headline features, the bundles and the bravery, but you realize there's a ton of other changes. But today I wanted to summarize the most important ones, the ones that might affect your Minecraft game and that might lead to your untimely death or that might save your life, because some of these changes were put into place to make hardcore a bit easier, and some of them were put into place to seemingly make hardcore a bit harder. Let's talk about each of those today, including the odd secret, which surprised me given that 4J have really stepped back from Minecraft, but they did something quite interesting for this update. But first things first, this is 1.21.40, not 1.21.50, which wouldn't contain the pale wood and all of that stuff. You can't access that even behind an experimental toggle, but not behind a toggle are bundles. Finally, after so many years, the Caves and Cliffs update Part 6 is finally out. Obviously that's a joke, but it's worth mentioning that you can craft a bundle using a leather and string, and then you can dye it in any of these colors, or indeed any color that has a dye, and you do so in the crafting grid from the inventory. You can do this, as you can see, just like here. Take your dye, take your bundle, and boom, you've got a yellow bundle. You cannot dye them in a cauldron, no matter how hard you try, even if you have a non-dyed version and you think you can do it. This is how most dyeing works on Bedrock, but the bundle works uniquely different, and so I'm going to put all of these fun items inside of it. If you're curious as to why I have so many, I was told that to be successful on YouTube, you need a lot of people to stare at you, so I've been collecting stares for a while now. It hasn't been working, but hopefully, if you like this video or subscribe, it might help me out in a more effective way. But you know what will help me in an effective way? This turtle, because he's about to say, good news everybody, there's a new feature out, and it's hardcore. This is one that people have wanted on Bedrock for a very long time, and it's one that is surprising because this is called the Bundles of Bravery drop for both Bedrock and Java, so this is clearly the bravery for Bedrock. What about Java? We'll explain that as we come towards the end, because for now it's just worth mentioning that hardcore is a new game mode where you are locked on hard difficulty and one life will end your world. A lot of people actually think it deletes your world. This hasn't been true for many years on Java. Instead, it sets you into spectator mode, and then you can spectate the world but never play it again. You can do this in multiplayer, and once someone's gone, they're gone forever, and so it's an absolutely brutal way to play. If you've got some friends and maybe you want to leave them early or you want them to leave you early, you could play hardcore with them and then just coincidentally die after 7 seconds. It's your call. You get to decide how to do it, and you also get to decide what you do with these mushroom blocks as long as you're in survival and not creative, because the all-sided mushroom block has been removed from the creative inventory. This is the red paw block, this is the brown paw block. Can you spot any differences? If you can, then you have especially working eyes, or actually the opposite, because they are the exact same. And now it's worth keeping in mind that the mushroom stem also, when used on a composter, will have a lower chance of actually producing the thing you want from it. This is a 65% chance instead of 85% chance. Why does it have to be that way? Honestly, this is something you can decide for yourself. It's still a very effective way to get bone meal from a composter, but it's very expensive because you need silk touch, and so would you ever do this before? Probably not. Will you ever do this now? Probably even less so. And speaking of things you probably won't do, the effect command is now going to clear specific effects instead of clearing them all, and you can also set to infinite duration. This is something you'll have noticed on Bedrock. If you tried to give yourself night vision, you previously had to give yourself night vision only for a set amount of time. Now you can set it to infinite if you want to, which is really, really weird to be able to say. That feels like such a Java feature that has finally come to Bedrock. Unlike the Java inventory, which is still not on Bedrock, they have reorganized the creative inventory substantially. Here's a couple of examples, but it is still the Bedrock inventory with its 4 tabs as opposed to the Java one with its 10. I still don't quite get that. Like, can phones not have more than 4 buttons? Someone at Mojang, please update the creative inventory in a more substantial way. But for now, just keep in mind things have been moved around from tab to tab, just like how bats have been moved around. Did you know they used to only spawn in caves, and even though they updated them with the bats and pots drop, the first of the new drops from the system, bats can now spawn at any height as long as it's on stone, granite, andesite, diorite, tuff, or deep slate. This means that they cannot spawn on the surface. They can now spawn on the surface and mountain caves, which they couldn't do before. And that is a very fun change, because that means you can find bats around your Minecraft world, perfect for Halloween, which is coming very shortly, right? Also, using a bed now sets the spawn, even if there are monsters nearby. This is such a game changer in my mind. It doesn't tell you that it's true. As you can see, I cannot rest. There are now monsters nearby. But this is such an important change because the number of times I've assumed trying to sleep in a bed will set my spawn, but then if there's a monster nearby, it won't. Why could that be true? I'm not thinking about if there's monsters nearby when I panic place one of these. I love that they fixed this, and I love that the zombie can't ruin my sleeping plans anymore. Speaking of things that can't ruin my sleeping plans, flying an elytra into unloaded chunks. You all know how this used to work before, right? You'd go flying, you'd hit an unloaded chunk, and then you die. Minecraft actually patched this as part of the hardcore thing. They made it so when you hit an unloaded chunk, your player's velocity would have been reset, but now they've gone a step further, and they've made it so unloaded chunks will not reset the player's velocity at all. Once the chunk is loaded, you'll resume gliding at your original speed. Absolute game changer. Love that sort of stuff, especially if you're playing on a console, which has a slightly lower power to render in chunks. Again, the number of times I've died from some weird flying into the world glitch has made me very cautious about flying so far, but give Minecraft some real credit, they have actually fixed that. You know, they're not going the wrong way like me. They have fixed a very serious issue, and I love that so much. Speaking of loving things, when you kill a polar bear with a fire aspect sword, you'll now get cooked fish rather than raw fish. I'm sorry, Tony. You had to die for this to make sense. As you can see, that's a ton of cooked fish, and this is how mobs work in general. It's a bit weird for polar bears, but I'm down with it anyway. Also, when the final armor piece is broken, the bar will no longer remain visible. I want to show you what this looked like before, because I can't say I've encountered it before. So here are two pairs of boots with only one durability left, and as you can see, once I put them on, I have 1.5 armor bars. This represents a 12% damage reduction, but as soon as I lose these from two little things right there, you can see that the armor bar fully goes away, rather than existing in a weird way. Speaking of weird way, here's my stairs. I'm going to put them back over here so that you can pay attention to that, while I pay attention to creepers, which will now drop music discs when killed by a bogged. It's the sort of thing that, you know, you're surprised to hear didn't exist before, but here is a bogged. He wants to shoot me. It's gonna, oh no! I thought he only had 1 health left, to be fair, but if he did shoot the creeper to death, he would drop a music disc. Speaking of dropping things, this is something fun. There is now a sound when you dye a wolf's collar. So here is a wolf with a yellow collar. Let's dye it red. Did you hear that? It's a unique sound, but it exists. Again, we'll do it. One more time. It's a weird noise, right? Could you use that for anything? That's up to you. Speaking of weird noises, cocoa beans now have a placement sound. Oh, yeah, that just sounds like placing some wood. Would you say that cocoa beans are wood? I mean, they go on wood. Is a wooden sound the most logical one? That's something you can decide on. But something I think we can all agree is kind of crazy is for Java parity reasons, the enchanted golden apple now gives regen 2 instead of regen 5. So to show you what that looks like, given that I just took some damage, you know, let's take a bit more damage. You know, I'm feeling a bit ungenerous right now. Here is a bogged. He takes a while to shoot me, but now I'm at about half of my health. And if I was on hardcore, I'd be freaking out right now. And so if I eat an enchanted golden apple, instead of getting regen 5 and just zooming up to the top of the bar, this is how slowly your health bar heals now. This is slower than Java heals when they eat a steak for comparison, and this is balanced by the fact that on Java, obviously they have that faster regen. On Bedrock, we have the slow regen from 2014. I don't know why this, I'm going to leave the rant aside and just say, keep in mind, if you're eating enchanted golden apples, you need to rely on the gold health, not your red health, because the regenerability is much worse. Speaking of much worse, beehive, this is a crazy nerf, so make sure you're ready for it. Beehives and bee nests can no longer be used as fuel. It's tragic, it's sad, but if I want to cook up my diamonds, as I so often do, I can't throw a bee nest in there. This is a parity thing, but don't worry, you can still use a daylight detector. I know many people do this all the time, it's one of the most useful things, but an even more useful way to get diamonds from your diamond door. Again, we all run into this issue sometimes where we've silk touched some diamonds, but we want to smelt them. The best thing you can use is obviously the jukebox. This is the world's most efficient diamond ore smelter, and if you're just looking to get a few diamonds from your diamonds, then this is a great way to do it. This is 100% the recommended way to smelt diamonds, and you can tell because he's telling you to smelt it. Speaking of things that are being told, piglins no longer pick up and admire powered rail items. Here's a piglin, here's a powered rail. If I throw the two things together, as I'm going to, you'll notice that unlike most other items, including my clock, if I give him my clock, he's going to pick it up and examine it, but if I give him powered rail, even though there's technically gold in there, he's not going to anymore. This is one of those small quality of life features that means if you build a rail in the nether, you don't have to worry too much about it. But yeah, I'm literally trying to hand it to him, and he's saying no. Oh. Now he's a zombie piglin with a crossbow. And that means he doesn't care about me anymore, just like how breezes didn't care if you tried to give them the jump boost effect or anything like that, but now you can officially do so. Here's a breeze, here's the potion. Oh. I still got it on him, but now when you see his jump, it's going to go a little bit higher. And I guess looking at this, you can see how that probably would have been overlooked. But yeah, let's kill the breeze. He's going to get in the way of my next demonstration, which is to do with the lodestone. So did you know that you can a lodestone is a really cool block because you can point a compass towards it, and so instead of pointing towards north, which not north, spawn I guess technically speaking, a compass will point towards the lodestone. This makes it very, very, very valuable in my opinion. But now if you have a bunch of these, as you know some people do, if you have a bunch of compasses that all point towards the same lodestone, they will now officially stack all the way up to 64, and so this is a satisfying thing that you can do in this update. With that said, there is one last change. The world thumbnails can now be changed. We actually can't confirm that one for sure, but the world thumbnails should be changing in a major way, and that is all of the major things inside of the Bedrock version of this update. But then that comes back to the question of how can this be called the Bundles of Bravery drop, which is a Bedrock Java unique term, when the Java equivalent, 1.20, 1.2, didn't include hardcore. Surely there it's the Bundles of drop, you might say. But the actual answer is that the Bravery, the hardcore, is now available on Java Realms. It's also available on Bedrock Realms for the first time. And so again, if you've got a friend but he's on your realm and you want to get rid of him, don't worry. On the Java edition, you can do that too. I would recommend a polite conversation. But if you're not feeling one of those, wait. Why did this lodestone compass not stack with that one? Okay, there we go. If you're not feeling that, then what you can feel is the slight end of this video, besides for the reveal of what the last secret feature is. And so are you ready? I hope you're ready. The next thing, the biggest thing that I was surprised to learn about is to do with the bundles. I'll show you the bundles after I mention that you can subscribe to see more of the longest running update series on YouTube. I've been covering Minecraft updates ever since TU5 for Minecraft Xbox 360. It's been almost, I think, just over 12 years now, actually. And if you want to stay up to date with it, you can do precisely that. I teach all sorts of fun things about Minecraft, and you'll learn lots of things, including about the Pale Oak and Creaking, the Winter Drop, as it temporarily is named, that is coming as the next update, 1.20, 1.50. But finally, I think we need to go back into the thing of like, wait, Toycat, you said a secret and then you dropped it again. What is the secret feature in this update? Allow me to show rather than tell. So notice all of these dyed bundles, right? These were not available in 120, 130, even behind experimental, so they literally have just come out today. Right, I think we can all say that's true. And as you'll all know, releasing an update on the marketplace takes a few weeks. It can take months in some cases. So that's what makes it especially surprising that if we load up our inventory with all of these bundles, as I've just now done, we can do something quite interesting if we load up one of the 4J packs. Okay, my point was going to be that they have brand new textures, but they're also absolutely giant if you load up the fantasy texture pack. But yes, so this is a brand new feature that just came out today, but yet despite that, you can already, as you can see right here, enjoy this brand new feature in all of the 4J texture packs. This isn't just the fantasy, although this is definitely the funniest, but also in the Halloween mashup pack, where as you can see, they officially are these fun little trick-or-treat bags, and I love that this has managed to come out with all of the new dyed versions of it. I love that this has managed to come out in time for Halloween so that you can enjoy a fully featured Halloween texture pack. It's very spooky being in an ocean monument for this stuff. But yeah, do you like this? Do you like the totem? Do you like the fact that they've officially textured these things? I love it a lot. I think it's very fun. And hopefully you agree with that one, because this has been 1.20, 1.40, a bit of a surprise update in a lot of ways, and indeed a bit of a surprise drop, we should say, because it is not the last drop coming by the end of the year. Usually you get an update in October and you're like, okay, see Mojang sometime next year, but sometime before the end of the year, we are expecting the Creaking and the Pale Garden drop, and that's going to be a lot of fun, and I look forward to seeing you there. Otherwise, why do you think it is that 4J Studios actually went through and updated all of the bundles, despite usually taking a few weeks after an update to do it? Did they actually texture the bundle years ago for the Caves and Cliffs drop? Did they do this at the same time they did 1.21 because they knew this would be a drop? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below, but for now, all I want to say is I hope you enjoyed this video, because I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Look at my shovel, it's so weird.